What's going on, guys? Before the video starts, I want to do a huge epilepsy warning. There's lots of flashing lights and crazy effects going on in this build, so if that's a problem, please click away and right into the video. What's going on, guys? I'm Jiffy Nano and welcome back to Borderlands 3, and it's been a little while. I didn't know what to make a build on, but today we are on Moze when we're in the anvil, and I've got an interesting one for you. I am not a huge fan of Moze, if I can be perfectly honest, but this build is kind of silly. It's it's extremely visually cluttered, so I pretty sure I put it in the intro to for an epilepsy warning, flashing lights. This is like the most visually polluted build I have ever made. There's gonna be particle effects and all kinds of crazy shit everywhere, and these are the best modifiers I can get. I'm going to be using a lot of grenade stuff, but hopefully this 45% health offsets the grenade damage increase, and then the 20% gun, minus 20% gun damage. But anyway, so let's get to the spec real quick. This is largely based on some of the grenade builds that I've seen going on, but it's my own little spin to it, and a couple other things, which I'll point out later. So we've got, first off, our mech. Our mech is going to have both the rocket pods, the Vanquisher rocket pods, as its weapons. That way we can hop into our mech if there's something, a boss or something big that's kicking our ass. We can hop in there, hit them with the rockets with this augment target softening, and they get a 15% damage debuff. So you do 15% more damage to them. So that's what the both rocket pods are for there, and I literally only use the mech as an oh shit button, or I need to take this guy specifically down. So we're gonna focus that guy. So I've got 5 points in the fire in the Skag Den. This increases your whenever Moze does splash damage, she deals bonus incendiary damage. We're gonna be doing almost nothing but splash damage, so this bonus incendiary is really nice. Another 15% damage on top of what you're doing. Means of destruction. This is one of the key skills in this build. So means of destruction, whenever you deal splash damage, there's a chance that you add ammo back to your magazine with a smaller chance to return a grenade. We're going to be spamming grenades and your gun all the time. So this ends up helping a lot, and because we're going to be using a grenade that hits multiple times, you're going to get that splash damage proc hopefully multiple times, and so you'll sometimes run out of grenades, but I haven't run out of grenades and I barely reload ever. If I'm on a good run, it's all kind of luck based, but if you've got good luck going, you will rarely run out of grenades, rarely even reload your gun. Toward cross promotion, all splash damage dealt by Moze is doubled in size. This is just a nice size bonus. Helps you hit more enemies and helps you get you farther down in the tree. Pull the holy pin. Moze's grenades have a chance to score a critical hit, dealing greatly increased damage. Sources of critical hit damage do not affect grenade critical hits. This gives your grenades a 50% chance to critical hit. This partly because I have my class mod. You want this. This is probably one of the strongest skills she has, and this works. This procs with redistribution, which will regen your magazine too. So pull the holy pin, really good build, really good skill. And you want this for sure. Vampire, so when I first started using this build, I wasn't using the shield, the class mod I was using the bloodletter. So grenade damage would heal my shield. But then I changed class mods and I was dealing way more damage. So this doesn't actually help you at all. I don't like at all. So I'm only using this to get farther down in the tree because I want short fuse. But yeah, Vampire doesn't help. You don't have to use the Blastmaster class mod, I think it's called. You can use the Bloodletter, and this will help you for sure if you're really having a hard time with survivability. But I didn't have too hard of a time with the setup that I'm using, and I really just needed to do more damage to actually kill things. 3 points in why can't I carry all these grenades? Because I needed to go farther down in the tree. To the last, so if you do go in a fight for your life, you can throw grenades, just spam grenades like crazy in fight for your life. And short fuse, so you have a 20% chance to deal 75% extra bonus damage in a secondary explosion, which counts for all your splash damage stuff, except for pull the holy pin. So this short fuse will count for means of destruction, torque cross promotion, fire in the skag den, all that stuff. We're going to come over here. Cloud of Lead. Occasionally, Moze and Iron Bear's shots will deal additional incendiary damage and won't consume ammo. This makes it so every 4 shots you don't consume ammo and you deal an extra 11.25% damage, which is nice every 4 shots or so. You could put a point into redistribution, but the class mod I have, if you have the good class mod like I have, you don't need it. If you feel like you aren't regenning enough ammo in your magazines, you could put a bonus point in here. So I'd have 2 and I have a 10% ammo regen. But I don't, when I'm running around with just 1 point and not having to put it in, I don't need it. So over here into the Shield of Retribution tree, you want Armored Infantry. Ooh, Armored Infantry, shields are active, she gains gun damage. Your shields are always active. And this whole thing is based on shields. If your shields aren't active, you're probably down in fight for your life. So, Armored Infantry, you're constantly getting 15% gun damage and 13% damage reduction. Thin Red Line, this takes away 60% of your max health and adds it to your shields. This will play into some other things later. But it takes away some of your max health, not removing your max health from the bar, but actually taking a chunk of your health. So if you have 100 health, it would take 60 of it, and you only have 40, but you still have a 100 health bar. So it actually lowers your health instead of like reducing your max health. It's kind of weird how it words it. Drowning in Brass. This kill skill gives you stacks of Drowning in Brass. It gives you gun damage. It reduces your fire rate. It doesn't really matter about your fire rate, but gun damage is going to play into some of the other stuff we're doing. Full can of whoop ass. I picked this up so I have an oh shit button. So if I'm getting my ass kicked and I need to hop in my mech, I can hop in my mech, hop right out. Shields are coming back way faster than they can take them down. Experimental munitions. If you're going down this tree, you might as well grab it. It just gives you bonus 10% damage on critical hits. If you're in this tree and you have the spare point, you should always take experimental munitions. And 2 points in Desperate Measures. I feel like this does a lot. You're not going to be doing a whole crap ton of gun damage. Most of your damage should be coming from your grenade. But this seems to do a lot for the damage you are doing with your gun. Okay, so that's the spec. Like I said, got the rocket pods and target softening in both slots. So over to the gear. So the 2 things you absolutely need for this to work, or 3 things actually, a handful of things. This whole build is somewhat based around Moxie. If you ever seen him on YouTube and Twitch, he's a super cool dude. Has made a bunch of really cool builds. And he did a Amara build with the Shrieking Devil. This is a shotgun you can get from the Banshee, the Blinding Banshee on Necrotafeo. And she's the only one that drops it, so it's a one that you can actually go and get. And you want a shock one. And this one has a special ability that when you fire it, it explodes on top of you. So with the Transformer, you're constantly hitting yourself with shock damage, giving yourself shields back. So, like I said, I was using the Bloodletter beforehand, but using the Shrieking Devil and the Transformer, I didn't seem to need it. So those 2 are imperative to your survivability, Shrieking Devil and the Transformer. Shrieking Devil does count as splash damage. As you can see, 250% splash damage radius. So this does count as splash damage. So you can get grenades off of this, and it's going to be twice the size, and you're going to get the bonus incendiary damage, and, all that stuff. So these 2 are the big ones. I've also got a Laser Sploder because Laser Sploder's good and really good on Moze, especially with all their splash damage stuff. The Bone Shredder because it's got a high magazine. You want mostly stuff with high magazines, if you're gonna use like full auto weapons. That way you don't run out of ammo ammo before you can regen it. And laser exploder, like I said, is really good. It does a lot of damage on with Moze. Bone Shredder does decent damage with Moze, and I'm using these two in conjunction. So like this thing is so I can get targets like the ghosts that are flying around right now, and the double penetrating boring gun. So this has pretty much replaced the flacker in all of my loadouts, especially on Moze. I have also got the Anointed While Terrified, deal bonus cryo damage. That doesn't come into play very often. But goddamn, if you can get all the saw blades to hit something with this gun, it will take a huge chunk out of them, and it works with all the splash damage stuff that Moze has. This thing does work. It's kind of hard to use. It's almost impossible to use against flying bosses, flying enemies. Obviously, you're not going to hit Graveor with this, but pretty much every other boss you can hit with this, and especially the bigger ones, you can hit all the saw blades no problem. So like I said, the Transformer, this is imperative. You need the Transformer to do the Shrieking Devil trick. And this is the one I switched to the Blast Master because I didn't think I needed the extra healing off of the grenades to my Transformer, which I don't really. If you feel like you do, you could take the hit to damage and you will never die. But I switched to the Blast Master because I wasn't reloading very often, and this just doubles your damage. It just straight up doubles your damage after a while if you don't reload. And if you're having decent luck and throwing grenades and blowing things up, you're never going to reload. I got a really good one with a point in redistribution. Yeah, redistribution. You want this so you could put extra points into Desperate Measures. If you don't have that, you could put a point in redistribution, and you'll just have to only take 16% extra damage in Desperate Measures. I also have another thing, an Elemental Projector Deathless. The Elemental Projector part doesn't actually come into play very often because I'm not using anything to proc a damage on myself. And the only dot you're ever going to put on yourself purposely is fire because of Cloud of Lead and Fire in the Skag Den. You're going to put a fire dot on yourself occasionally because you're hitting yourself with the Shrieking Devil. So if you see that there's a fire dot on yourself and you need to take something down quickly, you could switch to your Laser Exploder. This is part of the reason why I have a Fire Laser Exploder on here, to take advantage of that. But I have the Deathless on because it gives us a shit ton of shields and works really well in conjunction with Desperate Measures. So I always have a 33% damage increase because I only have 1 HP at any given time. And this grenade, the gas call, this came in with the blood harvest event. And I gotta say, this thing is kind of dumb. I know there's one where it's Roid, it's the Roid prefix, where it'll do extra damage if you hit an enemy with it. But this thing is interesting. So this thing, you throw a couple of the ghost skulls out, and they cause ghosts to fly at your enemies and hit them. And each one of these ghosts counts as a splash damage proc. I have the cloning one. It does quite a bit of damage. And even though it only comes in corrosive, this thing does work. And especially with the Maliwan takedown coming out, and they're saying, hey, you want to keep corrosive stuff, this is going to be the grenade everyone's going to want. This thing does fucking work. On Amara, it does work because of elemental damage. On Moze, it does work. The only people, I haven't tried it on Flak and Zane, but if it's good, if it's as good as everyone's saying it is, it's probably going to be good on everybody. So this thing does work, and this is kind of the basis around the build. So I'm essentially blowing myself up with this thing and then throwing grenades. So let's go check it out. Okay, so my game crashed, and so these are my modifiers now. Less from radiation, cryo, some corrosive, which kind of sucks, but everything else is not a big deal. It's fucking... Damn it. Anyway, so we're just gonna... I'm out of grenades. I didn't buy grenades. Just gonna get in here. We're gonna start blowing things up. And eventually I'll get grenade proc. And I can completely understand if some people just aren't into this kind of thing. Because there's just so much shit going on. Like, I totally get it. Totally get why someone wouldn't want to run this, because holy shit, there's just flashing lights and particle effects everywhere. This Tink Tank won't die. There we go. So this build isn't the greatest for bosses. You could kill bosses with it for sure. In fact, it's not terrible with bosses. If I'm being perfectly honest, you just won't be able to see the fucking boss. Remember, like, these grenades aren't doing a whole lot right now because I have a negative damage to corrosive. Plus, I'm in true Vault Hunter mode, which already nerfs your corrosive damage in the first place. Now imagine if you had the roided version of this grenade, and it's just gonna do, I think it does like 20% extra damage or something like that to enemies it's like to enemies it's stuck to or something of that nature. I don't know the actual stats. I just know that roided grenades do extra damage to enemies that you hit with them, like directly. That's gonna be the God Roll grenade, especially for the new raid boss when it comes out in a couple weeks. But like against badasses, even against anointed stuff, this build does great. It does fun. It's honestly is visually polluted and as like stupid as how many. Oh, there's just so much shit on the screen at any given time. It does a lot of work, and oh, I'm gonna die. It does a lot of work, and you know, if I wasn't getting negative corrosive damage, that grenade would be doing way more than it does. So I'm gonna transition into a boss fight real quick. So we're at Trant. My modifiers are 40% weapon. Enemies gain 40% weapon damage and get 45% extra health with additional projectiles. So when it comes to bosses, you are going to want to switch off of this Blastmaster class mod and go to the Bloodletter just so you can stay alive. Because when it comes to bosses, they're dealing, especially bigger ones like Trant, they're dealing so much damage so quickly. They'll just take your shield down immediately. And with the Bloodletter, you get all if you are to be healed, like health healed, you gain shields instead. So with that and Vampire, this will actually help you stay alive quite a bit because you're gonna have all these skulls flying at his face. Why am I damaged? So you just want to throw your grenades and fire your damn gun. And this is not... Oh, where'd he go? This is not a boss melter, unfortunately. This is more of a mobbing build. Certain bosses will get melted, like the Warden and stuff like that. But because this is this grenade is only in corrosive, it's never going to do a whole lot of damage to shield. Go into this. So I should have started with this, but I'm stupid. As you can see, because the Bloodletter is healing us for every time we hit a get a grenade hit, our shields rarely go down. Really? You're alive? Just throw a grenade at you. Gotta get back to him so I can get his shield away. In some cases, for whatever reason, if you hit an enemy like this, see, if you hit an enemy the right way, these ghosts will just swarm them. And I don't know, it's got to be something to do with their hitbox. Because it doesn't do that to smaller enemies, only bigger enemies. So, if you could find that sweet spot for bigger enemies and get those ghosts swarming, you'll be able to take out bigger bosses like this pretty easily. But as you can see, like his shield, I can't rip through very quickly. But even with True Ball Hunter modes, like decrease, I think you only do 65% damage with corrosive against flesh. He still just gets torn to shreds. And there's so much shit on my screen. Yeah, that's the build. So thanks so much for watching, guys. You guys are awesome. If you enjoyed the video, if you found if you learned something new or found it helpful, don't forget to like and share with your friends. If you enjoy my content, consider subscribing and checking out my Twitch channel where I stream Borderlands 3 and Call of Duty and stuff like that, all on Monday, Wednesday, Friday afternoons. So if you want to find that, it'll be in the pinned comment because YouTube doesn't like to suggest videos with Twitch links in the description anymore. Shout out to Moxie for the Shrieking Devil Transformer combo. That was a super cool combo, and it made this build pretty much this the only thing that made it possible to be as tanky as it needs to be in the situations it is. So shout out to him. Go check him out. He's a super cool dude, and help him notice me so I can pick his brain a little bit. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. Y'all are badasses. See you in the next one.